What if I told you that a woman who lived to 117 years old had the gut bacteria of someone in their 30s? Maria Brañas Morera didn't just break longevity records. Before she died in 2024, she donated her microbiome to science. And what researchers found inside her intestines could change how we all think about aging. Her secret? 3 yogurts a day and a simple Mediterranean diet. But the science behind why this works is absolutely fascinating. Welcome back to Mind and Marvel, where we explore the science that's reshaping how we understand health and longevity. I'm your host, and today we're diving into one of the most extraordinary longevity studies ever conducted, the microbiome analysis of a supercentenarian. Maria Brañas Morera lived for 117 years, making her one of the oldest people ever documented. But unlike most people who reach extreme ages, Maria did something remarkable before she died. She agreed to donate samples of her body to science, including her gut microbiome. When researchers published their findings in Cell Reports Medicine in 2025, they discovered something that challenges everything we thought we knew about aging. While most people's gut bacteria become less diverse and less healthy as they age, Maria's gut was teeming with beneficial bacteria, the kind you'd expect to find in someone decades younger. The key? Her gut was packed with bifidobacterium, a beneficial bacteria that normally declines dramatically as we age. But Maria maintained levels similar to those found in young adults and other centenarians. And here's the best part: unlike her lucky genes, which we can't control, her microbial health appeared to be heavily influenced by her daily habits. 3 yogurts every single day. A Mediterranean diet rich in vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. These weren't just random food choices. They were creating an internal environment that supported longevity at the cellular level. Today, we're going to explore what scientists discovered in Maria's gut, why certain bacteria are so important for healthy aging, and most importantly, what you can start doing today to cultivate the kind of microbiome that supports a long, healthy life. Let's dig in. Before we understand why Maria's gut bacteria were so special, we need to understand what the gut microbiome actually is. And trust me, this is one of the most fascinating discoveries in modern biology. Your gut microbiome is like a hidden jungle living inside your intestines. We're talking about trillions, with a T, of microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other tiny life forms that have made your digestive system their home. In fact, you have more bacterial cells in your gut than you have human cells in your entire body. In a very real sense, you're more microbe than human. But these aren't invaders or parasites. They're essential partners. Think of your gut as a bustling city, and the microbiome as its citizens. Each type of bacteria has a job. Some break down food we can't digest on our own. Others produce vitamins like B12 and K that our bodies need. Some train our immune systems, and others even produce neurotransmitters that affect our mood and brain function. Scientists now know that the gut microbiome communicates with virtually every system in your body through what's called the gut-brain axis, the gut-immune axis, and countless other pathways. It's not an exaggeration to say that your gut bacteria influence your mental health, immune function, metabolism, and yes, how you age. Here's where Maria's story gets interesting. Normally, as people age, their gut microbiome undergoes what scientists call dysbiosis. Basically, it becomes less diverse and less healthy. Imagine that bustling city slowly turning into a ghost town, as beneficial bacteria die off and harmful ones potentially increase. Studies have shown that as we age, we typically lose diversity in our gut bacteria. The variety of species declines, and specific beneficial bacteria, especially those in the Bifidobacterium genus, drop dramatically. This loss of diversity has been directly linked to frailty, increased inflammation, weakened immune function, and higher risk of age-related diseases. But when scientists analyzed Maria's gut at age 117, they found something extraordinary. Her microbiome diversity was comparable to that of a much younger adult. Her gut wasn't a ghost town, it was still a thriving metropolis. The key finding was her exceptionally high levels of bacteria from the Bifidobacteriaceae family, particularly Bifidobacterium species. These are among the first microbes to colonize our guts when we're infants. They're present in breast milk and help establish our immune systems early in life. In healthy young people, Bifidobacterium make up a significant portion of gut bacteria. But in most elderly people, they decline to a fraction of youthful levels. Maria bucked this trend completely. Her bifidobacterium levels matched those reported in previous studies of other centenarians and supercentenarians. This wasn't random luck. It appears to be a consistent pattern among people who live exceptionally long lives. Why are bifidobacterium so important? These bacteria are like the beneficial landlords of your gut neighborhood. They produce substances that support the gut lining, keeping it healthy and preventing harmful bacteria from causing problems. They help regulate your immune system, teaching it to respond appropriately to threats while avoiding autoimmune reactions. Research has linked bifidobacterium to supporting immune function, protecting against gastrointestinal disorders, helping regulate cholesterol, and reducing inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation is a key driver of aging and age-related disease, so having bacteria that keep inflammation in check is like having a built-in anti-aging system. Think of bifidobacterium as the peacekeepers of your gut. They don't just live there peacefully, they actively create an environment that supports your overall health. They produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate that feed the cells lining your colon, maintain the intestinal barrier that keeps toxins out of your bloodstream, and even produce compounds that communicate with your immune cells. When Maria maintained high levels of these beneficial bacteria into her 11th decade of life, she was essentially maintaining a younger biological age at the gut level. While her chronological age was 117, her gut's functional age was decades younger. This is where the concept of biological age versus chronological age becomes crucial. You might be 50, 60, or 70 years old by the calendar, but if you maintain a diverse, healthy microbiome, your gut, and potentially your whole body, could be functioning like someone much younger. The researchers concluded that Maria's unusually youthful microbiome likely supported her gut and immune health, contributing to her extraordinary longevity. Her gut wasn't just surviving, it was thriving in ways that most people's guts stopped doing decades earlier. But here's the really exciting part. Unlike genetic factors that we can't change, the microbiome is heavily influenced by factors we can control. Studies show that genes play only a small role in shaping our microbiome, somewhere around 10–20%. The other 80–90%? That's determined by our diet, lifestyle, medications, stress levels, sleep, and environment. This means that while we can't all inherit Maria's lucky longevity genes, we can potentially cultivate a Maria-like microbiome through our daily choices. And that's where her diet comes in. So Maria had an exceptionally healthy microbiome at 117. But how? Was it just genetic luck, or did she do something specific that we can replicate? This is where her daily habits become absolutely crucial. Maria reported eating 3 yogurts every single day. Not occasionally, not when she remembered, every single day for decades. And this wasn't just a quirky habit, it was likely one of the key factors maintaining her youthful microbiome. Let me explain why this matters so much. Yogurt is a fermented food, which means it contains live bacteria, probiotics. When you eat yogurt with live active cultures, you're essentially eating billions of beneficial bacteria that can temporarily colonize your gut and support your existing microbial ecosystem. But here's the key insight. Probiotics from yogurt aren't permanent residents. They're more like helpful tourists passing through your gut. Most of the bacteria you eat in yogurt don't permanently colonize your intestines. They pass through within days or weeks. So why did Maria's daily yogurt habit make such a difference? The answer lies in what these probiotic tourists do while they're visiting. When you regularly consume fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, or other probiotic sources, these beneficial bacteria create an environment that supports the growth of your native beneficial bacteria, including bifidobacterium. Think of it like this. If your gut is a garden, probiotics from yogurt aren't new plants that permanently take root. Instead, they're like temporary gardeners who come in, pull weeds, add nutrients to the soil, and create conditions where your permanent plants, your native beneficial bacteria, can thrive. The bacteria in yogurt, typically Lactobacillus and Streptococcus species, produce compounds that bifidobacterium love. They create a more acidic environment that harmful bacteria can't tolerate, but beneficial bacteria thrive in. they compete with potential pathogens for resources, and they produce substances that feed and support bifidobacterium growth. This is why consistency matters so much. Maria didn't eat yogurt occasionally, she ate it every single day. This constant reinforcement meant her gut was continuously receiving support for maintaining high levels of beneficial bacteria. But yogurt alone isn't the complete picture. Maria also followed what researchers described as a largely Mediterranean diet. This is crucial because probiotics need food too, and that's where prebiotics come in. Prebiotics are types of fiber that we humans can't digest, but our gut bacteria feast on them. They're essentially food for your microbes. When you eat prebiotic foods, you're not just feeding yourself, you're feeding the beneficial bacteria in your gut. The Mediterranean diet is exceptionally rich in prebiotic foods. Vegetables like onions, garlic, leeks, and asparagus, fruits like bananas and apples, whole grains like oats and barley, and legumes like beans, lentils, and chickpeas. All of these contain fibers that beneficial bacteria, especially bifidobacterium, use as fuel. Here's the beautiful synergy. Maria's daily yogurt provided a constant supply of beneficial bacteria and compounds that support the gut environment. Her Mediterranean diet provided abundant prebiotics that fed her native beneficial bacteria. Together, this created the perfect conditions for maintaining a diverse, healthy microbiome. Scientists call this combination of probiotics and prebiotics synbiotics, and research increasingly shows this approach is more effective than either strategy alone. It's like not just adding gardeners to your garden, but also making sure those gardeners have all the tools and resources they need to succeed. But Maria's diet included more than just yogurt. The Mediterranean eating pattern she followed is consistently linked to gut microbiome diversity and good health. This way of eating emphasizes whole, minimally processed foods, plenty of vegetables and fruits, whole grains instead of refined carbs, olive oil as the primary fat source, regular consumption of fish and legumes, and minimal red meat, processed foods, and added sugars. Each element of this dietary pattern supports gut health in different ways. The abundant fiber from vegetables and whole grains feeds beneficial bacteria. The polyphenols from olive oil and vegetables act as prebiotics and have anti-inflammatory effects. The omega-3 fatty acids from fish support the gut lining and reduce inflammation. The minimal processed foods mean less exposure to additives and preservatives that can harm beneficial bacteria. Other foods that encourage bifidobacterium growth include kefir, which is like supercharged yogurt, with even more diverse bacterial strains. Kombucha, a fermented tea with probiotics and beneficial acids. And fermented vegetables like kimchi and sauerkraut, which provide both probiotics and prebiotics. The key is diversity and consistency. Maria didn't just eat yogurt, she ate a varied Mediterranean diet that provided multiple sources of support for her microbiome. And she didn't do this for a few weeks or months. She maintained these habits for decades. This is where many people's approach to gut health goes wrong. They might take a probiotic supplement for a month or eat yogurt for a few weeks, don't see immediate dramatic changes, and give up. But microbiome health is about long-term patterns, not quick fixes. Your gut bacteria respond to what you consistently feed them over weeks, months, and years. Maria's exceptional microbiome at 117 was the result of decades of daily choices that supported beneficial bacteria. The good news? It's never too late to start. Research shows that the microbiome can respond to dietary changes relatively quickly. Studies have found significant shifts in gut bacterial composition within days to weeks of changing diet. But the real benefits come from sustained changes that allow beneficial bacteria to establish and maintain healthy populations. Maria's story teaches us that supporting gut health isn't about perfection. It's about consistent, sustainable habits. 3 yogurts a day might not be realistic for everyone, but incorporating fermented foods regularly, eating plenty of prebiotic-rich vegetables and whole grains, and following a Mediterranean-style eating pattern is something anyone can work toward. So, we've learned about Maria's exceptional microbiome and the dietary habits that supported it. But let's get practical. What can you actually do starting today to cultivate a microbiome that supports longevity? First, let's be clear about expectations. This was a study of a single individual. And scientists aren't claiming that Maria's microbiome alone explains her long life. Her extraordinary longevity was almost certainly the result of many interwoven factors: protective genes, efficient metabolism, low inflammation, and yes, the support of a diverse gut microbiome. We can't all live to 117, and we can't control our genetic inheritance. But what we can do is give ourselves the best possible chance at a long, healthy life by supporting one factor we can control: our gut bacteria. Let's start with fermented foods. The evidence is clear that regular consumption of fermented foods supports beneficial bacteria. You don't need to eat 3 yogurts a day like Maria, but incorporating fermented foods regularly can make a difference. Choose yogurt with live active cultures. Check the label to make sure it says, "contains live and active cultures." Greek yogurt, regular yogurt, skyr, and other styles all work as long as they contain live bacteria. Aim for plain or minimally sweetened versions, as high sugar content can actually feed harmful bacteria. Kefir is another excellent option. It typically contains more diverse bacterial strains than yogurt, and is often better tolerated by people with lactose sensitivity. You can drink it plain, blend it into smoothies, or use it in place of milk. Don't like dairy? No problem. Fermented vegetables like kimchi, sauerkraut, and other traditionally fermented foods provide probiotics along with beneficial plant compounds. Just make sure you're buying refrigerated versions that haven't been pasteurized, as the pasteurization process kills the beneficial bacteria. Kombucha, tempeh, miso, and traditional pickles are other fermented options. The key is finding fermented foods you actually enjoy and can incorporate regularly into your eating pattern. But remember, probiotics need fuel. This is where prebiotic foods become essential. Your goal should be to eat a wide variety of plant foods that provide different types of fiber and plant compounds that feed beneficial bacteria. Vegetables like onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, and artichokes are particularly rich in prebiotic fibers. Don't worry if you don't like all of these. Even small amounts can be beneficial. Mixing chopped onion and garlic into dishes adds prebiotic power without being overwhelming. Fruits like bananas, especially slightly underripe ones, apples, and berries, provide prebiotics along with beneficial polyphenols. Whole grains like oats, barley, quinoa, and whole wheat contain prebiotic fibers that refined grains lack. Legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, are prebiotic superstars, and also provide protein and other nutrients. The Mediterranean diet pattern that Maria followed provides a great template. Build your meals around vegetables and fruits, choose whole grains over refined carbs, use olive oil as your primary fat, eat fish regularly, include legumes often, and minimize processed foods, added sugars, and red meat. You don't need to be perfect or follow this exactly. Even moving in the direction of more plant foods, fermented foods, and less processed junk will benefit your microbiome. But diet isn't the only factor. Other lifestyle choices also influence gut health. Regular physical activity has been shown to increase microbiome diversity. Even moderate exercise like walking can have beneficial effects on gut bacteria. Sleep matters too. Poor sleep has been linked to reduced microbiome diversity and changes in beneficial bacteria. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. Stress management is crucial. Chronic stress can negatively impact gut bacteria through the gut-brain axis. Practices like meditation, yoga, or simply activities you enjoy can help protect your microbiome from stress-related changes. Minimize unnecessary antibiotic use. Antibiotics are sometimes necessary and life-saving, but they also wipe out beneficial bacteria along with harmful ones. Only use antibiotics when medically indicated, and consider eating extra fermented foods during and after antibiotic treatment to help restore beneficial bacteria. Be cautious with artificial sweeteners. Some research suggests certain artificial sweeteners can negatively impact gut bacteria. While the evidence is still evolving, choosing whole foods over heavily processed products with additives is generally safer for gut health. Avoid excessive alcohol consumption. While moderate red wine consumption is part of the Mediterranean diet and may have some benefits, excessive alcohol can damage gut bacteria and the intestinal lining. Now what about probiotic supplements? The research is mixed. While some specific probiotic strains have been shown to provide benefits for specific conditions, most probiotic supplements haven't been proven to permanently colonize the gut or provide long-term benefits in healthy people. The consensus among researchers is that getting probiotics and prebiotics from food is generally more effective than supplements. Fermented foods provide not just beneficial bacteria but also the metabolites those bacteria produce during fermentation, which may be just as important as the bacteria themselves. That said, specific probiotic strains have evidence supporting their use for certain conditions, and a healthcare provider might recommend supplements in specific situations. But for general gut health and longevity, food sources are your best bet. Here's a simple framework for building a longevity-supporting microbiome. 1. Eat fermented foods regularly, daily if possible, but even a few times per week helps. 2. Eat the rainbow. Diverse plant foods provide diverse fibers that feed diverse bacteria. Aim for 30 different plant foods per week. 3. Choose whole over processed. Whole grains over refined, whole fruits over juice, minimally processed foods over ultra-processed. 4. Include prebiotic-rich foods daily. Onions, garlic, legumes, whole grains, fruits, vegetables. 5. Follow a Mediterranean-style eating pattern as a general template. 6. Move your body regularly. Exercise benefits your gut bacteria. 7. Prioritize sleep and manage stress. Both impact gut health. 8. Minimize unnecessary antibiotics and be cautious with gut-disrupting substances. Maria's case reinforces a growing consensus in longevity research. While we cannot control every factor that determines lifespan, nurturing a diverse, beneficial microbiome through daily habits is linked to better health and resilience throughout life. These habits won't guarantee you'll live to 117, but they are associated with lower risks of cancer, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and many other conditions that limit both lifespan and health span, the years you live in good health. The beautiful thing about this research is that it's empowering. You can't change your genes, but you can change your daily food choices. And those choices, compounded over months and years, shape the microbial ecosystem inside you that influences your health from the inside out. Maria Brañas. Morera's gift to science reminds us that longevity depends on a delicate balance of genetics, lifestyle, and biology. We can't control everything, but tending to our gut microbiome through simple daily habits is one meaningful step toward lasting health. So here we are, having journeyed through the remarkable gut of a 117-year-old woman and discovered that her secret to longevity wasn't some exotic supplement or complicated protocol. It was 3 yogurts a day and a Mediterranean diet, simple, sustainable habits maintained over a lifetime. Maria Brañas Morera's microbiome analysis revealed something profound. The gut bacteria we harbor, that vast ecosystem of trillions of microorganisms living inside us, play a crucial role in how we age. Her exceptionally high levels of bifidobacterium, maintained into her 12th decade of life, gave her what researchers called a youthful microbiome that likely supported her immune health, reduced inflammation, and contributed to her extraordinary longevity. The science is clear. While we can't all inherit lucky longevity genes, we can nurture the kind of gut environment that supports healthy aging. Fermented foods provide beneficial bacteria. Prebiotic-rich plant foods feed those bacteria. And consistent, long-term healthy habits create the conditions where beneficial microbes can thrive. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about making choices each day that, compounded over time, shift your internal ecosystem toward health and resilience. Small, consistent actions, adding a serving of yogurt here, choosing whole grains there, including more vegetables, trying fermented foods. These add up to profound changes in your microbiome. Maria's story is ultimately one of hope and empowerment. Longevity isn't just a genetic lottery. While genes certainly matter, our daily habits, especially what we eat, shape the microbial partners that influence our health from the inside out. If this exploration of the hidden world inside a supercentenarian's gut has fascinated you, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Mind and Marvel. We're constantly diving into the latest scientific breakthroughs that reveal how our bodies work and how we can optimize our health. Drop a comment below and let me know. Are you surprised that such simple dietary habits could have such profound effects? Do you currently eat fermented foods regularly? What's one change you're going to make to support your gut microbiome? Your engagement helps us know what topics to explore next, and I love hearing from our community of curious minds. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the microbiome of the world's oldest person. Until next time, remember, you're not just what you eat, you're also what your trillions of gut bacteria eat. Feed them well, and they'll return the favor by supporting your health for decades to come. Here's to your gut health and your longevity.